Welcome, 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 welcome to the Rap Jux Podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome to the Rap Jux Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yo, welcome to the Rap Jux Podcast. It's your boy Prophet. That's Profhit. Yo, to my new people, I give my rap on, topics surrounding rap. Entertainment, politics, gossip. Also do music reviews. And to those of you who are new, what's Zam? Fat Joe, let's talk about him. Recently, Fat Joe, it's been in the news, man. He was on the Math Hoffa podcast, where Math Hoffa was a battle rapper, is a battle rapper. And he has his own podcast where him and I guess some of his friends, they sit around in the barbershop and they have guests on and they interview guests. Well, recently Fat Joe was a guest on this podcast and he made some very, very disparaging remarks against black people here in America. I mean, they were so disparaging that Math Hoffa had to take the video down. So let's talk about it. For those of you who don't know who Fat Joe is, he's a Puerto Rican rapper born out in New York. He made his bones in the late 80s, early 90s, rapping with a crew called the Digging in the Crates crew, a crew that was made up of Big L, Lord Finesse, OG, who made the Jules album, Diamond D. They had some hitters in that crew, and Fat Joe was one of the rappers that came up through them. So he had like an all black crew when he first really hit the scene. I'm gonna be honest with you, I never really rocked with Fat Joe until he started making some joints with the rapper Big Pun. But that's neither here nor there. No diss, no shout out, and I hear a lot of things about. He really didn't start making hits until he got ghostwriters and people writing for him. Some people even say that Pun wrote for him. But hey, who am I to say? Well, anyway, he was on the Math Hoffa show, and he basically came out and disrespected black people, foundational black Americans, and said that black people were broke, a bunch of broke niggas, and that we were racist and we don't want to see any other ethnic group shine who doesn't look like black people. And I take highly offense to that because, I've always I've always known black people to basically accept every race, be willing to take people in with open arms. I mean, almost definitely to a fault of ours throughout years, and now we're seeing that the people that we accepted into our culture are starting to turn their backs on us. Fat Joe also talked about Lord Jamar, a brand Nubian fame rapper. Now he does like a lot of shows. He has his own podcast called the God Pod. He said he was the wackest out of the brand Nubian group because Lord Jamar has been calling him out. And many other non-FBA blacks in hip-hop who basically claim that hip-hop was started 50-50 with blacks and Puerto Ricans and Caribbeans and other blacks from other ethnic backgrounds, Jamaicans. Well, Tariq Nasheed, who Fat Joe also spoke of, but not by name, said their leader, talking about FBAs. And let me consider this. FBAs is a lineage. There's no leader. There's no leader of the Jamaicans here in America. There's no leader of the Caribbeans or the Puerto Ricans. They all consider themselves their own, some even nationalities, but their own ethnic groups culturally. So there's no leaders. Well, anyway, he talked about Tariq Nasheed, and this all stemmed from Tariq Nasheed creating with a documentary called Microphone Check, where he got the original B-boys, B-girls, MCs from the 80s who actually started this, and they all say it was a black thing. Now Caribbeans and Puerto Ricans contributed a little bit later on, but in the origins, it was all black. In fact, and not Fat Joe, and Lord Jamal has just been reiterating this fact that, hey, when this thing started, it was all black people, and we created it. You guys contributed a little bit later on, but it was not a 50-50 origin story. And a lot of Puerto Ricans, like breakdancer Crazy Legs, Fat Joe, even Busta Rhymes came and jumped himself into it. KRS-One. I mean, they all, Pete Rock, we can't forget about him. They all took issue with black people claiming and stating the truth that black people created hip hop. Now, I guess Fat Joe got a chance to get on the platform that he thought was big enough, and he just I think someone maybe asked him about it, and he just went off, man, went off the deep end so bad that Math Hoffa had to take down the video. But yeah, I think that's the catalyst of why he came on the show, basically to, I guess, belittle black people, even by saying we were black racists. It's impossible to be a racist when you have no control over no resources. You don't get jobs because of the color of your skin. You don't get to fire or hire or do any of those things. You got to make your own way here in America. So for us to be considered racist, it's laughable. Another thing I realized too, and I've always wondered this about people like Fat Joe, even Drake, people who are not black Americans, foundational black Americans who use the N-word. I'm like, why do they have a pass to use the N-word? And I can see in cases like Fat Joe, not Drake. He grew up around a lot of blacks, and he's also gone on record and saying that black people, that he thought he was black for a while. But as time goes on, you create the terror squad. You're hanging out with all Puerto Ricans. There's not too many blacks in your entourage. You got to put that word away, man, and only use it when you're around your black friends. But it might be time to put foot to ass with this dude, because he is walking around like he can't be touched, like he's some mafioso don, and almost daring the average black man to touch him. Now, granted, he probably does have security now, so it'll be difficult just to run up on him. But if you keep barking up that tree, you're gonna get what you're asking for. You dig? So the N-word pass, I don't like it. Save that for your inner circle friends. Don't just be on national airways spewing, calling us niggas, and you not black. It's disrespectful to our ancestors who died because people called them that name, and they fought and killed because people called them that name. So for you to come in and say, oh, it's a cool thing, everybody said, nah, man, learn to check yourself, because we don't say derogatory words or slurs against other ethnicities. Even if we know them, we don't just openly say them, because it's a respect thing. And I think everyone who does say the N-word who's not black need to follow that as a respect thing. And if you have some friends that allow you to say it around them, just say it around them. But Math Hoffa, man, during the interview, while Fat Joe is spewing all this hatred, it's laughing and giggling and laughing. And a lot of people are wondering, like, what's the story on this dude? But come to find out, he is Caribbean or part Caribbean or something like that. So he kind of related to what Fat Joe was saying. He was kind of feeling what Fat Joe was saying. And I think this is something that goes a little bit beyond just the hip hop origin story. I think the fact that foundational Black Americans, Black people in general, probably from the teachings of people like a Tariq Nasheed, are now delineating and basically stating that, African Americans are their own ethnic group. And I think that a lot of people like the Math Hoffas are, who basically was able to blend in and be Black, when it was convenient, and now starting to show their ass and think that everything is going to be a cakewalk now since they've been doing it for so long. They've seen the KRS-One, who has I think a father from Barbados. They've seen Pete Rock of Jamaican descent. They've seen Busta Rhymes, Jamaican descent. They highly hold Biggie up in high esteem because of Jamaican, his Caribbean, West Indian, West African, no West Indian, West Indies, descent. And I think that is a deeper meaning that, of this whole underlying thing, that they can no longer hide in and just say they Black when they want to be Black. If you're going to play the role of saying you Puerto Rican or Caribbean or Jamaican, then be that. Or Dominican, be that all the time. Don't be Black and then something, when you're around us, and then be something else when you're not. So I think that it's the real underlying meaning of the hatred, But I don't know, man. I was thinking also, man, I'm going to do another video on this. But Nori, man, the rapper Nori of Drink Champs, he's always, I was wondering why he always threw Pac under the bus and had this thing about Pac, and at first I thought it was about the New York dissing of Pac used to diss New York MCs. And in fact that Pac left New York and went to the West Coast and became famous and sided with them. But then as I started digging deeper, I realized that it was more than that. It was more than that. With Noriega, who's being half Puerto Rican, and he talks about this all the time. He probably really disliked and hated Pac in some type of sense, because I'm starting to see now a lot of these guys from these other ethnic backgrounds who really didn't have our back. When we thought it was about Pan-Africanism, and if you look like me, then you're part of me, and all for one and one for all, there were most of them they call it, quote unquote, anchor babies, where their parents were first generation Americans and had babies to stay here. Most of them grew up with vitriol and hate towards us, and we didn't even know. You dig? So every chance he get Nori, it's kind of like throwing Pac under the bus. And that could be also the reason why so many of these MCs big up Biggie so much, Because if you look at the two, Big and Pac, Big was clever with his rhymes. He was a good storyteller. He rhymed mostly about drugs and partying, like he said, bullshit. Pac was way deeper than Biggie. He was what a respectable Black man, young Black man, even elder Black man aspired to be. He had Malcolm X in him. He had some Martin in him. He had some Denzel in him. Paul Robeson in him. He had a little bit of everything. He's a very talented guy. Very respectful, high morals, rapped about everything you could think about, from women to pro-Blackness. And Biggie just didn't have the ability to take it there. But now I'm starting to see a lot. The reason why so many of these New York MCs, like, and media people always put Biggie up there, because of the Norris, because KRS-One, because the Busta Rhymes, because these people they don't consider themselves just Black Americans, even though we accepted them as Black Americans and we bought their music throughout the years. They don't feel the same, so I thought, Well, that's my whole take on it. That's my rap on it. But I just thought that it was done, it was distasteful for Matt Hoffa to allow Fat Joe to go in there and rant and talk about a whole ethnic group of people and get away with it, And Fat Joe's been doing it for so many years. I'm starting to feel he thinks he's untouchable. I think that the blacks that he ran into, who throughout the years probably wasn't willing to do the type of crimes he was willing to do, because keep this in mind, these people have countries to go back to if they're extradited. Look at Shine. So they come here and they do some of the most heinous crimes, and the ones who get away with it, they're kind of like rewarded, like I guess Fat Joe and people like that. But a lot of them get caught up in the system and they're sent back to their countries and not allowed to come back. So that may explain why a lot of these dudes was doing heavy crime and criminal things, because they knew they had a home country to go to. Whereas in the Black American household, we were taught that we got to be twice as better than most people. We got to get your education. You got to do this, that, and the third. It was about love and family, and not saying that their households wasn't about that, but we wanted to respect our mom. We wanted to do the right thing and always show that we're doing the right thing. When I think a lot of these guys were just willing, they were scratching and surviving and willing to do anything to get on top for money. But that's a whole nother video for another time. But yeah, man, Nori, whose real last name is Santiago, he's always up there trying to ask people about Pac. Pac this and Pac that. He can't keep the man name out of his mouth. And it's probably because he's not really a foundational Black American. He's half. So I guess he gets a pass. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comment. Of course, like, share, subscribe, listen to this video, share this video, help the and it definitely will help the channel grow. It's a lot of good material, it's just not being heard by a lot of people yet. So if you are just discovering me, click on the notification so you can be notified when the next video comes, and let your people know about me if you dig. And until next time, peace.